Okay, let's go.
فأنا لما أعلنت عن الدورة وحطيت طبعاً بروموشن، كل من قرأ عن اسمه أجا، فصار عندنا ضغط كبير. أجوا من دوحة فيلم انستيتوت، أجوا من الجزيرة، أجوا من كل مكان، من دول المجاورة، صار 36 واحد. فحكى لي، قال لي ما عندي أي مشكلة، سيؤثر على مستوى الدورة بالتأكيد، بس ما عندي أي مشكلة.
This kind of workshop, it would be much more interesting if we would get a little bit less people, because it should be a dialogue. It's too much lecture here. It should be, not more than 10, 12 people, and small group, 6 people.
وهذا كانت أحد الأشياء الجميلة فيه، إنه هو يعني لو مدرب تاني كان قال لك يعملهم دورتين 3 من أجل القيمة المادية، بس هو لم يفعل ذلك فعلا.
He doesn't accept many offers. What for? He doesn't need to earn money. He doesn't need to prove that he is good, because he knows he is good. So he picks up projects which are really precious. If they are not, he is not willing to bother anymore.
He didn't care about money at all. Also in film production.
أدركت إنه هؤلاء الناس الفنانين الكبار وصلوا مستوى عالي جدا. أنا أعتقد كان هو مهووس إنه يجي على الشرق الأوسط ويعلم شبان. هذا هو كان اللي بهمه. كل ما كانوا يناقشوا إنهم يكونوا شباب مهتمين بالفيلم، وهو يسعده جدا. يعني هذا يقول لي أن أنا يسعدني كثيرا أن أتعرف على شبان أعطيهم من خبرتي ذات. فأنا هذا الإشي اللي قلت يا الله، هذا الإنسان فعلا الإنسان العارف الكبير فعلا لا يتطلع على الأمور التفاهات هذه، وفعلا هو القيمة، كان يبحث عن القيمة.
I could easily ask for more money, I probably would get less people, but we would get more money. But, I don't want to do it, because it would be against my principles,
Slawomir is a very generous person, and he wants to share, and he wants to open eyes of young people to make them understand what a beautiful profession, how beautiful this profession may be, and how exciting it is to make films. So I think he is generous, and he's just giving. And I think it is totally disinterested, it is gratuitous. He does it because he loves people.
لما صار الاتصال بينه وبين سلومير، يعني كان كل الإيميلات تدور حول الوركشوب ونوعية الطلاب وطريقته في العمل وإلى آخره. يعني هو طبيعته خجول أو ما بيطلبش فلوس.
Doing something to wake you up, to make something happen.
It won't be the same. You can't finish it. You have to give it up. I need to finish it.
Okay. If you like to repeat this kind of with the different movie, whatever, it's extremely important to get the right casting. It's the actors. It's half of the success. If we don't have real emotions, what we can say about the camera? Perfect. Very nice. Great.
Żeby opowiedzieć coś z sensem o Sławomirze Idziaku, trzeba zacząć od sytuacji w ogóle polskiego kina.
The idea of education in film aroused in the group of filmmakers in the 30s. They were left-wing oriented. Then war came, everything stopped. But after the war, when in Poland we had socialism, everything belonged to the state, a couple of guys implemented this idea into the state philosophy. And it was quite easy, relatively easy. So they got money from the state and they established higher school, higher film education. At the beginning in Krakow, later it moved to Łódź. And it is how it began.
من الأشياء الجميلة في بولندا أيضاً هي مدينة ووتش. والأجمل فيها مدرسة ووتش لصناعة الأفلام، ووتش فيلم سكول. أنت علشان تدخل الجامعة لازم يكون عندك بورتفوليو. أنت طالب، شلون يكون عندك بورتفوليو؟ بالإضافة إلى ما يعادل 2 خبرة في الآرت. بعدها تقدم على الاختبار، إذا قبلوك واختاروك من ضمن عدد كبير من الطلبة المبدعين والمتميزين في نفس المجال، فالمنافسة شديدة جدا. تقعد تدرس 5 سنوات مجال معين، مثلا سينماتوغرافي، تدرس 5 سنوات سينماتوغرافي، بعدين تتخرج تشتغل وظيفة مساعد مصور أو وظيفة بسيطة إلى ما توصل مسمى سينماتوغرافر.
When you're at school, you are in a very safe filmmaking artistic environment where you have good teachers who inspire you, who share their knowledge and practice, where you have other people who have the same passion so you can share the same passion with them, provided you do have that passion.
I od faktu, że w 1945-1946 roku powstała szkoła filmowa w Łodzi, która tym różniła się od szkół europejskich tego czasu, że w tej szkole uczyliśmy się my, reżyserzy i operatorzy razem.
My country, due to the seclusion, Poland was many years, we got this communist part, so it was the iron curtain between the so-called West and East, as we call it. We developed completely different system in Polish Film School in Łódź. We got nearly 2 departments. There was some other, but main 2 departments, camera and director. And somehow, due to this, way of education, the role of cinematographer in my country was huge. So we were obliged to work on the script, which, in American system, totally nonsense.
بولندا كما هي الدول الأوروبية عندها كثير عراقة، يعني الالتزام بالفن الرفيع، الالتزام بالقضايا اللي بتحط المجتمع على المحك للنقاش والتأمل في المستقبل والحاضر. معروفة في الأوساط الأوروبية، يعني المدرسة البولندية مدرسة ضخمة جدا، ساهموا كثيرا في تطوير السينما البولندية، وهي مدرسة عريقة.
It was the decision on the highest level to devote some millions of zlotys into film production. It was political decision to make a film, to devote some part of state money into the film production, because it's creating a cultural product. This was the way of thinking. We, directors of this time, only think about the festivals.
The founder of the foundation, Slawomir Idziak, he came from the background of Polish film school, like in the 60s and 50s. Yeah, that was the time in Poland when we had the Polish School of Film, and there were many directors, operators that were quite good. Yeah, it was all about the idea of creating something that will be important on the social level as well. So it's like direct speech with the society, I would say, back then.
Polish cinema is making film in this way. Directors made it for their friends, directors.
Nobody thought in terms of box office.
Zbliżaliśmy się coraz bardziej do naszych kolegów, którzy w rezultacie, czy byli z tego, czy z innego pokolenia, po prostu byli wychowani na tych samych zasadach. Właśnie tej jakiejś wspólnoty. Często używałem tego określenia, że to nie jest mój film, tylko to jest nasz film. My robimy ten film.
Tak, tak, to bardzo chciał. Tak naprawdę, wiesz, może być, bo to ma być fajne, no.
Ja rozumiem.
Jerzy, no. Bo my dzisiaj powiedzieli, że nie ma.
To jeszcze podkreślało, jeszcze dodawało tą spójnie, jeszcze tworzyły zespoły filmowe, które też były całkowicie oryginalne. W tym czasie nigdzie nie było takiej instytucji. To jest czysto nasz polski pomysł, polegający na tym, że grupa ludzi robiących filmy zbiera się razem pod kierownictwem kogoś, kto jest bardziej doświadczony, jest reżyserem, zrobił wiele filmów, żeby młodzi po prostu stawiali kroki w grupie tych, którzy albo zaczynają, albo już zrobili pierwsze filmy. No i że tak powiem, ta wspólnota mnie na przykład pomogła zrobić mój film najtrudniejszy, film Kanał. Gdyby nie upór Tadeusza Konwickiego, gdyby nie zawziętość Kawalerowicza, ja nigdy bym z tym tematem i z tym scenariuszem nie przebił się, że tak powiem, przez ówczesne trudności scenariuszowe. Krótko mówiąc, ta wspólnota dawała nam szansę, że dobrze się rozumiemy. Mówię o tym tak dużo, dlatego że właśnie Slawomir Idziak w ten sposób przygotowany i wychowany w szkole łódzkiej, a potem w zespołach filmowych,
بولندا كانت دائما تذكر كمدرسة متميزة، وفي كثيرين من المخرجين البولنديين اللي استقطبتهم هوليوود. لما أنا أقول سينماتوغراف أنا لا أعني بس مجرد مصور، أنا بعني كمان مرحلة متقدمة جدا في التكوين البصري والاستيتيك تاع الصورة، من ناحية الكتل، الإضاءة، صناعة الصورة، الجمالية تاعت الصورة، أو إيجاد الصورة. بالألمان بيسموه إرفندن، يعني أكتشف الصورة. أنا عندي سيناريو، يجب أن أكتشف الصور لهذا السيناريو، وهي عملية اكتشاف وليست مجرد توزيعات كتل وإضاءة فهو كيف سأكتشف الصورة، وهذا هو شغل السينماتوغراف، إنه بتعلم سنوات طويلة من عمره في أكاديمية السينما في الاستيتيك والتكوين البصري والإضاءة وفلسفة، وشايف كم هائل من المدارس السينمائية والجماليات مدارس السينمائية المختلفة، ولكن بعد سنوات خبرة ممكن أن يصبح سينماتوغراف، يعني جاهز للعمل في الميدان في الأفلام السينمائية.
Cinematography is really the art of the film image. Film is basically a medium of telling stories through images, and cinematographer is the artist who transforms the words of the written screenplay into images. So things like light, color, shadow, composition of the image are all parts of the art of cinematography. Cinematography is what we see in the movies.
وهذا المصطلح كمان ما تنساش نما وترعرع وكبر في العالم الغربي حسب فلسفة، وبالتالي لما يقولوا سينماتوغراف أو مصور سينمائي، يعني سينماتوغراف كاميرامان، يعني تبقى ضمن المفاهيم الغربية والسياق التاريخي لمفهوم السينما.
role of the cinematographer in the US and my country completely different. So we are having the same name, but the people doing completely different thing. If you are shooting in the American system, studio system, the cinematographer is being considered a technician. His principal role is making a light on the location. Decision about the camera position and lenses is the director decision.
His work with Krzysztof Kieślowski in such films like the short film about killing, his work with Krzysztof Zanussi, with whom he was starting in late 70s, is absolutely exemplary. And then he went on to make some of the most famous modern classics like Three Colors Blue or Black Hawk Down, which got him an Oscar nomination. He also started a very fruitful collaboration with Ridley Scott. So there is absolutely no doubt that right now Slawomir Idziak is one of the finest cinematographers alive.
He's a complicated man, very talented and very good lecturer.
He's intelligent. He likes life.
I spend most of my life out of the Poland, you know. I'm a little bit deaf, you know, and being so many years, you know, I'm still don't speak languages very good. And I feel very much as a Polish guy and very much strongly attached to my country. I really, fate of the Polish filmmakers is closer to my heart as anything else.
Idziak is, of course, a typical Pole.
I prepared a compilation of his interview from many newspapers, and I asked some my friends to write a text, but even some professors from the film school in Lodz were afraid to write about the master, as they said.
He always was bumping around Europe and giving lectures, running the excursions. It was not enough for him, these classes. He started to think about creating something individual, something new. Yes, new, it's the good word.
Slawomir was looking for some new openings.
He organized a special workshop, Film Spring Open. It's absolutely outside of the official Polish cinematography. It's a very interesting film school in practice.
Krakow is a cultural city, and both the Krakow Film Commission and the city of Krakow and the region, the Małopolska Voivodeship, they build up a very strong cultural creative community. They make a lot of festivals, events, concerts. I think even the capital is jealous about it, you know. It has a good film infrastructure here. Film post-production companies and little studios, and now they formed, it's called the cluster of Krakow Film Cluster. So they build up like a base of all production services, film services for Poland.
Filmspring Open Air, it's an interdisciplinary course where we are inviting young, mostly young, successful artists which share their knowledge with the what to be a future filmmakers. We invite the old maestros or the people, great artists who achieve, you know, the, as we are calling, glass ceiling, and they are really stars in the business.
He started also different venues online and also in the real world. So you have now the Filmspring agency, and you have the Filmspring workshops, and you have Filmspring Open Air, and you have the Filmspring website. So there are various locations online and offline where you can gather, and this venue here is like the culmination of all this.
It started with a small group, one group of fiction films, 15 people. They were making one film project. It was in the north of Poland, beautiful Hel Peninsula.
Filmspring Open is not only about an evolution or an innovation of film creativity, film process and film technique, but also on film collaboration. Or when our group started 10 years ago, we developed together a film story.
The first idea was to produce the film together with the group of the people and using the practical work as a base for education. So teaching by working. So this was a simplest idea.
After summer, it was totally abandoned. So there's 15, 20 people there. They had nothing else to do. They had to work on the project, which they absolutely love to do. And they worked before on the internet, on the script. They consulted it, and then during the workshops, they were always fighting for the concepts, of course, when they meet. But this is how the ideas get realized. I mean, people need to meet each other. You can meet other colleagues and like-minded people, and you can create your project, you can develop it, you can discuss it with mentors.
After that third time in Hel, it then moved to another location. And then I think Idziak wanted to open it up. That, I think, why now it's called Open.
Open means it's open for everybody. It's interdisciplinary place, you know. This is again, you know, something which we're forgetting in terms of the traditional education.
So we thought that the word open would be more appropriate to make an open formula. And actually Slawomir Idziak, who is the founder of this initiative, thought that the word open air, which is borrowed from the French expression en plein air, accurately describes what we are doing here. So people meet, they create their projects during the day, during the night, and then they discuss what they produce, just like painters en plein air. So the plein air and the open air formula and the open formula really worked out for us. I think it precisely describes the kind of a gathering here of the people in one place that live and work together in one location.
The idea of Filmspring Open is not just open for the various aspects of filmmaking, but on the creation of film itself. And that doesn't mean being open on a film project, doesn't mean necessarily that everybody has to put their own garbage into the story, like I have the best idea. No, it's actually about humility and taking one person's ideas back in the sense of giving others the possibility to join in. So that doesn't necessarily mean, and you can't shoot a film, a real film on a real set with the director not having an idea. But that means the director is open to other people's ideas. And that's what you learn here. You learn to think about what somebody else has to add, has to say about a certain situation, a certain idea, a certain aspect of the filmmaking process. And that is also part of Filmspring Open, being open-minded.
It's a hands-on learning that we proved here, and the spring is the beginning of everything. So we think that the spring is also the beginning of the road, the professional path of our participants, and most of them, they are first-timers, so first-time filmmakers, debutants, and this is the place to kick off their careers, and you do it in the spring.
أول ما وصلنا على فيلم سبرينج أوبن شفت التجمع، أعداد كبيرة من شباب فيلم ميكرز، بعضهم صغار بعضهم كبار بعضهم بروفيشنالز بعضهم توهم بادين. شفت المكان اللي اختاروه في الوركشوب، مكان فوق التل أو مكان معزول عن المدينة. كل الموجودين ناس تالنتد، ناس موهوبين، ناس متميزين في المجال الفيلم ميكينج.
Everyone is welcome in the Filmspring family, and I think the possibilities of interaction and finding new networks is more than amazing.
Nie, twoja może być akurat, bo ty jesteś mobilny. Nie, ale... Bo po prostu... Staniemy je tak, żeby miejsca. No to ustawić. No to super. Muszą być też to super.
It's a foundation that created a special event that one in a year there are people coming to this place, and it is possible for them to join certain groups, productional groups, that deliver content, on few topics.
And we are delivering the enormous amount of equipment. This year we have equipment valued €2.5 million, and mostly absolutely brand new tools, brand new cameras. A very good example, I just finished last year a picture of Natalie, Tale of Love and Darkness, and I came direct from my location, and the cameras which we got here were much better than cameras I got during the shooting of Natalie Portman movie. So the people here are privileged to have an access to absolutely brand new equipment, so without investing any money they can check it and test it and make comparison tests.
We care about the equipment very much. Each day we're getting another equipment, and it basically functions like this, that the distributors of the equipment and the production houses provide the equipment for free, and we're providing the equipment for free, thanks from them, to the young people who's making them short and sometimes longer movies here.
We are delivering, editing facilities, cameras. We are building the 3D cinema here, so everything is ready for the people to produce the films.
think that what Idziak is doing now is he has the opportunity, the potential to give resources to the people who have ideas that want to tell a story but do not have the resources, and resources meaning expensive cameras, editing suites. So this is what he provides to the young people who want to make film and see if something interesting comes from this marriage. Yeah, what babies come of this resources and young talents.
The film school teach a little bit for yesterday because it's very hard for them, to get a new equipment. It's too expensive. And the people who are actually doing something and they are doing it successfully, they are tired with the industry. They have no time to teach. So it produces a gap between what is being delivered in the film school and what is actual state of the art, of the film business.
We proved the educational formula, which is learning from doing. So people come here, they make films, then they watch what they produce. We have lectures, we have hands-on tests of the newest equipment.
We would like to transfer the philosophy which we built here during our workshops, which means, teaching by working.
When he, 10 years ago, started to run these, there were no smartphones. And suddenly, when he ran these, smartphones showed up, and he had to learn these smartphones. He was at the Camera Image a couple of years ago. He ran a competition. People were doing short pieces with smartphones. He wanted to learn these, to experience these.
The industry is simply advancing all the time, and in order to catch up with it, in order to be able to use those resources, you need to have a hands-on experience, right? And this is what we're doing here.
We have this youth meeting in Poland nowadays, and I see the groups bumping around Warsaw, and some guys are running with the newest technology. It's a small camera, like a glass on a stick, and smartphone adjusted into it as a viewfinder, and they are recording 4K picture on a smartphone with equipment which is 200 grams in weight. I can see only in hands of these youngsters or on the pictures. I must experience it. The same with Sławek.
Our workshop is orientated for the future of the film industry. Everything around of us develops extremely quickly.
Filming techniques, the technology is developing so fast that he must learn permanently. He must experience new cameras, new digital techniques to be able to talk to these young people.
From the practical point of view, it's very hard to adjust education, film education, to dynamic changes around of us. And Film Spring is a kind of the workshop which we can afford for the 2 weeks of time to get the newest kind of equipment, and as well the people who are not professional teachers, they are busy and successful in industry, and they're coming over to teach. We are not teaching for yesterday, we are teaching for tomorrow.
Film Spring Open is a planner. So what he does is like once a year, big event that gathers all the people. So it's not having to run the school.
If we are talking about the future, as I mentioned, we believe in the future. We have to bring more professionals. Like, for example, nowadays, if we are speaking about the future, no doubt meeting between computer programmers and artists is a must for the to-be future development of interactivity in the film business, which sooner or later we would get. And we are having people here coming from all walks of life, They are like body painters, composers, the people who are producing the tools for the audiovisual sector, drones, gimbals, and so on. I believe I have something to tell, and I like to share my experience with the young people. I was young as well, I was stupid as well, I make hundreds of mistakes as well. I very well understand, you know, what these people encounter or about to encounter in the future. I would like to achieve what is their dream, and I share it. This exactly would like to help. Watching, you know, how enthusiastic they are in terms of getting the money, putting the project together, and knowing that they encounter a lot of the administration barriers. It's a pleasure as well, you know. It's not only, you know, the duty, and it's not a burden for me. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to discuss with the young people. It's refreshing for me. It's my dream, you know, I like it.
He finds in it a lot of fun.
It's fun to be with young people, you know, first of all, but, you know, I remember how hard it was for me, you know, to go through all the stages and crossing all the barriers which are being built for the young people career.
This film spring open idea began in his mind, I presume, as a kind of moral obligation. I have to do it. I have to do something for other people.
We are not sticking only to the typical film school professions like director, cameraman, editor, and scriptwriter, because we believe the architecture of the would-to-be a future format of the film is much more complicated, and we have to bring aboard the new professionals.
I was expecting like well-structured workshop where we would work, and then I was like, oh my god, what is happening? It's like 300 young people running like crazy, and just it's like, this is why I'm saying it's like a free spirit filmmakers hub, this Film Spring Open, because it doesn't have a structure. You have to go there, find your way in it. You do have access to good equipment, but you have to find your own way in it, and you need to know what you want to do. And that's exactly how film business works. You need to know what you want to say to the world. So when you know what you want to do and you go to Film Spring Open, then you have opportunity to do something. But you must find your own voice. I think this is the point of it.
الفيلم ميكر هو مش فقط إنسان تكنيكال أو إنسان بيصنع فيلم، هو إنسان عنده رسالة، عنده رؤية معينة، عنده فلسفة معينة يوصلها من خلال الفيلم اللي ينتجه. يبتدون من الصباح من الساعة 8 أو بعضهم يمكن حتى من 7، ولكن دورات تبتدي من 9 أو المحاضرات، ويستمرون في التصوير أو في الوركشوبس إلى الساعة 12 في الليل.
Everyday schedule has some stable points. Like for example, right now there's a meeting that is taking place over there in the big auditorium, downstairs. And in the evening, if somebody has already finished material, it's possible to screen it onto the big display, because also the sensation of the film will change with the bigger screen. Right. So if you want to test it, or if you would like to speak with people regarding their ideas and their thoughts about the footage, you do it simply in the evening.
فكرة الوركشوب انه هو قاعد يساعد صناع افلام الشباب انهم يحققون افكارهم او افلامهم، يوفر لهم كل الامكانيات، كاميرات، كمبيوترات، دورات، معدات، انت ما عليك الا انت تفكر.
This is what Idziak is doing. He's creating opportunity for young filmmakers to gather in one place, get to know each other, and maybe get to know top professionals from filmmaking world. And that might start their idea. This is also what I'm doing for screenwriters. I organize this festival for screenwriters. I organize pitching sessions so that they can meet the producer face to face and don't have to, it's like, how do I get to a producer? It's like, sit at the table, talk to them for 5 minutes. This is what I do. I also organize a contest for screenwriters, workshops, give them opportunity. This is what I do. I'm giving writers opportunity that I didn't get when I was a beginner screenwriter, and I think this is what also Idziak is doing. He's giving young filmmakers opportunities that he didn't have as a young filmmaker, but now he has the resources to do that. So that's why he does it and what he does. And I totally appreciate and admire him for doing that.
Ten moment wspólnoty najbardziej się wytwarzał, jak już powiedziałem, w zespołach filmowych, które przecież obejmowały wszystkich filmowców. Było ich kilka, czasem więcej, czasem mniej, ale to był wybór. To nie było tak, że muszę być w tym zespole, bo mnie do tego wyznaczyli. Nie. Wybierałem zespół, którym większość przyjaciół sprzyjała takim filmom, jak ja sobie wyobrażam.
Five years ago, we put enormous accent on the 3D education.
We are not here to change the market. The market is what we see. Like a couple of years ago, it was 3D. Then we discovered cross-media interactivity. This year, we also have VR tools, so virtual reality tools.
We are talking about the future, and we are talking about virtual reality or extended reality. So the 3D is a future, but I believe still, is an extremely interesting, fantastic technique which helps audience to immerse deeper, and that's exactly what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to achieve, this deep emotion immersing into our products, into our stories, into our narration.
I was producing my documentaries with digital video. Then HDV came, and when this format was on the market, I had opportunity to get more money and to make documentary in 3D. So I did short documentary with 3D. In Poland, it was war story. And when I finished this film, I told Sławek, and he invited me to join his Film Spring Open and to show to the students. It showed him that 3D can be done, produced in Poland. And this is how the idea of Battle of Warsaw 1920 came to his mind, to do it in 3D. The stereographer which did my film was introduced to him and gave him support to make this film.
Later on, any picture being produced in Poland, a 3D picture, it was the professionals who work on such 3D projects were educated here in Film Spring Open.
Film Spring Open is his platform of sharing his experience.
So we try to stick to the development of the market, understanding that behind the development of the technique is language changes. And we inviting the old maestros, we are as well keeping an eye on the young specialists. And we try to keep a good balance between the new talents and the people who spend their life making particular job in the audiovisual sector.
My name is Konrad Jaya, and I'm the art director in a company. And I specialize in live action VR, which is basically a 360 panoramic films for VR devices like, for example, Oculus Rift or Samsung Gear VR and so on, like maybe Google Cardboard. That's what I do. With the participant, I run sort of workshop where they approach me and ask about virtual reality films and how I do it. So I show them my workflow and I share what I've learned.
Idziak has a very interesting conception to make a low-budget film with small group, with young people.
We are as well inviting the young, successful filmmakers not to show only the film, but to analyze them. We discuss how they organize the production, how hard it was for them to get the money, what kind of obstacles they were exposed, in the prep of the projects.
He wants to make a little revolution in the financing smaller feature films in Poland.
The revolution is based on the fundings because some people, they just don't want to wait. They want to play va-bank. They don't go for endless years of begging in institutions to get money and to produce a film.
So I think Film Spring Open is a great opportunity for young filmmakers because they don't need to apply for grant, they have easy access to high quality technology and they can put in practice the vision that they have, so they can film it right then and right there.
It starts of the popularity of the profession, and we have hundreds of young people willing to devote their entire life to the career being a cineast director. We're having hundreds of education institutions, so automatically a lot of people would like to get a chance to make a feature movies, and of course there are not enough money for that. So it's an extremely competitive market, and as well market in which we're still having a lot of traditional elements which doesn't help a special kind of the people to get the money for their would-to-be first-time films.
وقال كلمة ما انساها، يعني قال ميزانية صناعة الأفلام دول ما تقدر عليها. عشان هاي السبب هو قاعد يحاول إنه يبسط الأمور، يحاول إنه يسهل الأمور على الطلاب إنهم يوصلون حق تحقيق أو إنجاز أفلامهم.
The model of the lonely director is not exactly what we are promoting here during our workshop. Exactly your example, you decided to produce documentary about the Film Spring Open, producing this movie using your own money. And it's a big sacrifice. But probably if you would do exactly the same with the group of people interested to make the same project, it would be much easier.
Probably he has a vision to make a film with young people in new way, to make film in country where is the problem with the financing of feature films still.
Poland is a very good situated place between East and West. We are on the sort of the frontier, and I really would like to attract our workshop more for the people who are having much more trouble to find the money and help in the visual sector from the East, Ukraine, Russia. So this is what I believe is a good place to keep rolling the idea of the Film Spring Open, because it's very much on the frontier between these two different cultures.
And we would like to help people to produce more films for also lower budgets, but not lowering the quality of the project, which is important. We see that there are some technical solutions that we can introduce on the set, like editing on the set, which strongly helps the first-timer because they are not experienced. They have to see what they filmed. They have to also see it on the big screen. And we found the technology for color grading on the set, for editing on the set. This is all based on years of experience of both Sławek, Idziak, Łukasz Baka, and our whole team. I'm trying to stick some elements together to propose the new model of film production for this small-scale projects.
There was a creation of a very specialized bus that can travel across, Poland or any other country, and this bus is like a film studio on wheels, basically. Yeah? So you're capable of producing content on very high technological level in one place.
The mistake that I often see with young filmmakers, that they decide to make films that need a huge budget, like Hollywood budgets, but you don't do that. You need to first start with low budget, micro budget or guerrilla filmmaking to show that you have a vision that you want to follow through.
We discuss here during the workshop potential new model of a product, because for the same amount of money you have at young people's disposal for the first-time movies, we can try to produce much more movies. So that's, one of the very simple tools, Why not to try to change the system to make it more economical using a little bit simple tools, and as well to change a certain tradition which is not particularly good. In Europe, and not only in Europe, too often we are copying the American studio system, which is built for a completely different kind of cinema business. In the US, we are dealing with the film industry, and we can say in Europe we are much more hand worker. Everything is nearly the same, but on much smaller scale.
على فكرة التمويل الفيلمي في أوروبا قليل من ما تشارك فيه اللي هي المؤسسات البنكية. زي أمريكا أغلبه بنوك تستثمر لأنه business.
We try as well to put under question mark the actual system. We're trying to point out the places or structure or model of financing, which in our opinion is outdated and supposed to be changed.
Whether you think as a student that if you pay that money that will make you a filmmaker, it won't. It's your own determination, it's your own passion. If you're passionate and you're determined and you know what films or stories you want to tell, you will tell them. And you don't need bazillions of dollars to tell the story, because you can tell the story for a very small budget.
فكرة الستيركيس هو الأدراج الموجودة في البنايات المختلفة حول العالم. كل بناية لها قصة وكل ستيركيس له قصة معينة.
I have attended here since 2009 every year, every episode. After all these years, I decided to create an own group. To found this group, I created an idea and concept for the group. The group is called Staircase Stories.
الستيركيس احنا حضرنا اجتماعهم، كانوا بيحضرون وبيوزعون أدوار بتناقشون الأفكار، وعجبتني الفكرة، دخولهم في التفاصيل وفي التكوين البصري للصورة والفلسفة. فرحت صورت وياهم خلف الكواليس، رحبوا فيني، اعتبروني أحد أعضاء الفريق معاهم. ويوم انتهى البرنامج عرضوا علي إنه أنا أكون معاهم في الفريق واستمر معاهم، إن حتى هم كانوا حابين إنه يجون عندي في البحرين ويعملون فيلم في البحرين، بس ما صارت فرصة.
So we travel now to all the places, the home places of the different participants of the Staircase group.
بعد سنة تقريبا أنا رحت على ألمانيا وصورت هناك معهم تكملة للمشروع اللي بدأ في فيلم سبرينغ أوبن في كراكو.
The best way to find your creative partner is to work with him practically. You can't do it at film festivals or markets all the time by being at industrial events just by speaking, no, by this work.
This time it was the Krakow episode, and the idea of doing it at Film Spring Open, it was to find a crew not only like that they can do my movie. The concept of this staircase stories is that help create helps. So they help me for a little story, I help them for their story. So everyone has the chance of, during the episode of Staircase Stories of Krakow, to do a little movie or maybe in the future even bigger ones. But first of all, it was to find out if the crew is can work with each other and is able to invest something of themselves, that the group can have a benefit of the crew member. And it worked out for the crew and for all of us very, very well.
Here you're supposed to get together, collaborate on various ideas and make a film.
ويمكن أحلى شيء في الستيركيس بروجكت إن إحنا نتبادل الأدوار. مثلاً اليوم أنا المخرج والفريق كامل يساعدني. واحد يكون مسؤول عن الصوت، واحد مسؤول عن التمثيل، واحد مسؤول عن اللوكيشنز، واحد مسؤول عن التصوير. اليوم الثاني نتبادل الأدوار.
The best moments of the Staircase Stories episode Krakow was, of course, to see the interaction between the directors and the actors, and how the DOPs achieve the different ways of or how they achieve their pictures. We agreed that one of us goes very low light, nearly normal. The next one goes to 10 to 16,000. The next one goes up to 128,000. And we will learn out of the results and out of the post-production issues how to handle these very low ISO situations with these little torchlights. And this was amazing to see, and how it worked out for all of our little stories. And we will go on with telling little stories happens in a staircase.
أحداث يومية تصير. بالإضافة إلى جماليات الستيركيس هو آرت، خاصة في الدول الأوروبية. كل ستيركيس مختلف تماماً عن الستيركيس الثانية، فن كامل. الفكرة إن إحنا نسوي شورت ستوريز أو شورت فيلمز، كل فيلم يتكلم عن قصة معينة تحدث في الستيركيس. يحاول المخرج يعبر عن مشاعره، يعبر عن فلسفته الفيلمية في الستيركيس. في النهاية تكون عندنا مجموعة من الأفلام القصيرة وممكن نشارك فيها كمشروع فيلمي، قصص مختلفة في الستيركيس. كل الأجهزة اللي نصور فيها أجهزة متوفرة. استخدمنا التورش لايتس اللي هم الإضاءات الصغيرة. حاولنا من خلالنا نخلق صورة مشابهة ويمكن أفضل من الصورة اللي بتستخدم بالإضاءات الكبيرة والإضاءات المكلفة.
Visual concept is that we have to use a high ISO camera and use very little torch LED lights to achieve a pretty normal look, like a normal cinema look of the pictures, in a way normally you could not achieve them. So that we have like a truck, like a light truck in our backpack and a camera truck in our backpack.
Many people, they interpret it in their own ways. So, some people think it's the play, pause and stop sign. Yes, you said it might be a fish, maybe a portrait of Idziak, you know, smiling there to us. For me personally, the logo always needs to have various meanings. So this is how we also grow. We have various meanings, and many people interpret the logo and the sign and the name in their own way, however they like. All that matters is like-minded people and people who are coming here with projects. And especially the Polish Film Institute is fostering the international co-productions, and in the new operational programs, they actually encourage the whole Polish film industry to get abroad, to find partners abroad, because their films could reach more audiences. And we should support each other by forming collaborations with other countries.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Hani, thank you very much.